Fight Forever fans, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. God bless. Today we're going to talk about some of the things that I'm personally most excited for concerning the information that we've gotten so far, the tag team trailer that we got, and some things I'm hoping to see revealed in the near future. So without further ado, man, let's work. One of the first things that I want to point out is that I feel like we might be really undervaluing the attention to detail when it comes to some of these gameplay mechanics. For example, even the basic grapple and tie-up mechanics just feel like they have more depth to them. It's not just a collar and elbow tie-up and then you select your move, but we can actually see Kenny and Mox engage in this test of strength to try to gain the advantage over each other. From the looks of it, this may be a grapple counter animation. I'm not entirely sure, but from what it looks like is this animation may be exclusive to Mox. The way he moves his fingers as if he's calling for the tie-up, that level of detail is so key when it comes to these kind of games. The same can be said for Sting with his Scorpion Death Drop, the subtle pause that he does right before he delivers the move. And then of course we have his Scorpion Death Lock where he actually points toward the sky before he actually locks the move in. Again, it's attention to these small and subtle details that really go a long way in terms of delivering a great gameplay experience. A few things that I want to point out real quick before we move forward and before I forget is one, I hope we get some advanced explanations as to why certain things happen in matches. I mean, just basically going over and explaining some of the deeper mechanics. And secondly, we actually get gameplay from somebody who's a little more seasoned when it comes to knowing how to actually play the game, so we can actually see some of those said advanced interactions in action. Because you have to think about it like this. A majority of the gameplay and footage that we've seen so far came from people who were playing the game for the very first time. So there's still a lot from the gameplay that we haven't seen because the players simply just didn't know how to do a lot of the stuff. And thinking about it, that was probably by design, maybe as proof of how easy the game is to pick up and play. Players were still able to get through matches, but we've yet to see how deep the gameplay truly is with like advanced mechanics and things of that nature. So I, for one, am definitely looking forward to a more in-depth explanation as to how things work. Another thing that I noticed that I don't see a lot of people mentioning are the crazy amount of buffs and effects that this game has. Like, this game legit has RPG level status effects. After Kenny does an eye rake to Mox, if you notice down by Mox's hub, it says disoriented. And then if you look at the gameplay after that, you can see that Mox is swinging and grabbing at the air like he is legit disoriented. But furthermore, it just makes me wonder what other kind of status effects that they'll have in this game. Judging by the footage that I saw in my astute observation skills, it appears that the gold buffs are going to be the positive ones, whereas the blue buffs are going to be more like debuffs or negative. Also, it appears that you can only have one buff at a time, because we see as Adam Cole grabs a little bit of the bubbly from under the ring, he has a weapon buff. But when he gets in the ring and he taunts, it appears to override the weapon buff and replaces it with a taunt buff. I figured that out all by myself. Nobody helped me. But as somebody who's typically not really all that into the whole buff mechanics, I gotta admit, man, this one's pretty interesting. Because not only does this system appear to reward you for playing a certain type of way, it also appears to have some deeper secrets under the hood. I'm more than intrigued to find out what a lot of these mean and how they're going to affect the gameplay. The feature that I'm probably most excited about because it has a lot of potential if it's true is that injury selling appears to be in this game. Oh my God. Not a wrestling game realizing that it might be a good idea to make wrestlers actually sell injuries. And what makes this even more crazy is the fact that it's coming from a game that is widely considered more on the arcade side of things. But seeing this is, first of all, amazing. Thank you. But secondly, it does raise some questions as to just how deep this feature actually is. I mean, are we going to see things like players grabbing their head, like if they have a head injury? Are they going to limp? Is it going to have any other implications on the gameplay? Those are some questions that I'm hoping that they can answer very soon. Even if it's just a scenario where they just sell for a little while and then snap out of it. I mean, that's better than nothing. It is wild to think that they've not only been able to implement chain wrestling in a very unique way, but on top of that, they've possibly given us advanced selling features. They've taken two very simulation-based features and managed to fit them in their gameplay in a way that does not interrupt the flow or pacing of their game at all. And I absolutely love this because it goes to show that not only is it about the features, but the way that said features are implemented is equally as important, if not more. This is proving that the more simulation-based features don't necessarily have to be slow-paced, drawn-out, and immersion-breaking. Definitely a game changer in my opinion. Environmental interactions are also very impressive in this game as well. We've seen some crazy interactions with the apron, the guardrail, the steel steps, and even the entrance LED. That's right, you can actually destroy your opponent and the entrance LED. This one is definitely giving off King of the Ring 2001 vibes. This was a dope spot, and it just makes me wonder what other kind of wild and crazy spots that we'll be able to pull off in this game. As for the tag team trailer, man, there's definitely some pretty cool stuff that I saw in that trailer. I mean, the double team moves look nice. I mean, they look fluid. For this to be a tag team trailer, though, I do have to say that there are some notable tag team finishers missing. Like, we did not see the Meltzer driver, nor did we see the Fear Factor. So I just wonder how those are going to look, as well as how they're going to be implemented. Like, how is the finisher aspect going to work from a double team standpoint? Like, will both team members have to have their special meter activated, or will it work with just one being activated? How many positions will double team moves be available from? These are basic questions that hopefully we'll get an answer to in the near future. Surprisingly, this game continues to impress me. It just seems to get better every time I see it. Don't get me wrong, I'm still trying to keep it reasonable with my expectations. But I have to be honest, I haven't been this excited or this intrigued about a wrestling game in a long time. That in itself speaks volumes. Overall, from what we've seen so far, it looks like they have a pretty solid foundation. I just want to see them continue to carve their own path and continue to update this game in a way that is unapologetically AEW. And I don't mean that just in terms of roster updates or created character parts and a few new arenas. I want to see them go under the hood and continue to add gameplay elements, like maybe giving us deeper submission mechanics and maybe add a crawling minigame. And you know I'm always advocate for community creation, so I would like to see their version of that maybe being implemented into this game as well. Matter of fact, we're going to save that for another video. But what I want to know is, what are you guys most excited for in this game? Like, what stands out to you? What is something that is missing that may not have been revealed quite yet that you're hoping for? Let it be known down in the comments. And as always, appreciate you guys for rocking with me, man. God bless. And that's one thing I want to mention, man. If you guys have anything that maybe you want me to talk about, the floor is yours, man. I'm open to ideas. If you guys want to have a discussion or whatever, it doesn't matter. Leave it down in the comments. And if you rock with the content, man, do me a favor and go ahead and leave that thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe. Road to 1K on the way. And most importantly, be a blessing to somebody.